But one of the, I remember the moment when he announced Sia as captain.
Yeah, I was going to talk about that actually.
You're going to talk about that. Tell me about yours.
I found that very interesting. And again, I'm saying this in the context of I'm not a big rugby person. I was watching this as a layman. But certainly I got the strong sense that Sia was not the strongest player in the team. And this comes with that understanding and seeing where the different strengths come from that bring the team together.
Absolutely.
But I think what Rassie saw in Sia was this person who is a great unifier.
Yeah.
And for that season, what Rassie needed was a person who was a great unifier, who was comfortable with his skin, enough in his skin to say, you know what, Guy, I need this from you, and I need that from you.
So that's
and I need, because that was
let's spend a little time on this because that's important.
Yeah.
And I want people who watch it to hopefully get that sense as well. Sia has, and that came out when I think they were playing England, and they were losing. I think I can't remember what the score was and a try had been scored and they were huddling under. And then he went to Dwayne and said, you speak. Now, that for me is just, I contextualize it to me, right? Appointed in a position where there's an expectation of something that you have to deliver, right? Where you get to a vulnerable point where you've got two roads. I can either come to you and say, I'm struggling, or I can put the makeup on that, hey, I need to make it, I've got the title, I need to resolve this. And the added pressure on him was immense because there's the pressure of, is this a token appointment? Does he's not strong enough. Look, he can't do it, etc., etc., etc. Yeah. But for him at that most vulnerable moment to say, you speak, is probably, and I think Bernays would agree with this, the most courageous thing that I have heard a sports person do.
And for me, it's quite interesting because I've always thought, you think of especially male sports is very much about showing each other off, right?
Yes.
And here he is. He's carrying the weight of being captain. Yeah. But not only that, he's also carrying the weight of, almost these micro views or micro assumptions of incompetence.
Yes. Yeah.
Right? And we can't run away from that. Because no one was expecting him to be made captain. Yeah. It wasn't, I mean, if...
I was like, oh, gee, okay,
exactly. No one
that's a
was
bold
expecting
move.
him to be made, and not only that, he is black. And so he is sitting and in a sport that's been mired in controversy around transformation.
Jeez.
And so I would love to sit with him, but I can almost guarantee that he is thinking, oh my goodness, everyone assumes I'm a token appointment. Yeah. Everyone assumes I'm just the black person who's been put in this role. And for him at that point to say, okay, but what the team needs right now is to hear from an experienced player who can tell us and guide us. And that doesn't take away from me being the captain. Yeah. It doesn't take away from the fact, actually, in me being the captain, I'm finding the strongest person for what is needed right now.
It enhances.
It enhances
that is leadership. Yeah. That for me is the quintessential example of leadership and courageous leadership, where I went through my mind as to where have I seen this before, where have I experienced this before in my working life. With leaders that I looked up to and said, and it was difficult, and that's why I bellowed. So I thought, geez, and look what it did. That team turned around at halftime, doom, and won. Yeah. And I've always wondered, how do leaders lead leaders? And that's how you do it. You recognize their leadership as well.
You recognize, guys. If there's one thing, and think about it in terms of how it makes you feel as an individual. There was a point in my career where, actually throughout my career, I've always been so fortunate to have people who work with me and they see me. They see me, right? Sometimes in ways I don't see myself. It's like that maths teacher when I was doing my A-levels, and I started getting Ds. And he called me into his class and he's like, you're a straight A student. Why are you getting Ds? What's happening?
Yeah.
Because they saw me. They could have just said, you know what, she's underperforming. I've got so many other students to worry about. You know, the leaders who can find that multiplier effect of saying, you know what, Vic, you are actually good at this. Yes, your role and your title and whatever you may say, X, Y, Z, but how I will use or leverage you in the team is you bring the heart and soul. You bring the voice of conscience to us. You know, how I'll use person Y is you bring the technical. You remind us that actually, guys, this is all great, but come back to center. Are we getting the numbers? We're still not getting the numbers. Something's still not working. Because it's always that above the line and below the line kind of thinking. There's always the hard facts. So if they hadn't started winning, none of this, we wouldn't be watching Chasing the Sun.